Imagine doing something that had never been done before, and imagine being told you are not worthy of doing something just because of your gender. Today I'm going to talk to you about Elizabeth Blackwell, who was the first woman doctor in America. So let's start at the beginning. Elizabeth Blackwell was born February 3, 1821, near Bristol, England. She was the third of 9 children. She and her brothers and sisters were tutored at home by their mother, Hannah. Her father, Samuel Blackwell, was a sugar refiner and well known for social activism. In 1930, there was an outbreak of cholera in Bristol, which prompted riots and caused Samuel's factory to close. So he moved his family, including his 4 unmarried sisters, to America. So now let's talk about Elizabeth's life in America. It certainly became harder. The Blackwells settled in New York City in 1832 when Elizabeth was 11, but the family was not as prosperous as they had been in England. So in 1838, the Blackwells again relocated to Cincinnati, Ohio, and then tragedy struck. 3 weeks after their move, Samuel Blackwell died, leaving his family virtually penniless. To support the family, Elizabeth, her mother, and her 2 older sisters opened up a private school for young women. Now that we know how Elizabeth came to America, let's talk about how she became interested in the medical profession. Miss Blackwell was initially repelled by the idea of studying anything related to the human body, but that soon changed. She visited a friend named Mary Donaldson who was dying of cancer, and Donaldson talked about how uncomfortable she was having only male doctors. So Donaldson suggested that Blackwell study medicine. Elizabeth Blackwell soon realized that pretty much the only occupation available for women at the time was teaching, but she wanted something more to absorb her time. So she began to figure out the process of applying to medical school. She talked to several doctors who were known to her and her family, and all of them told her it was a good idea, but that it would be impossible for a woman. But Elizabeth was determined to do it. She wrote, "The idea of winning a doctor's degree gradually assumed the aspect of a great moral struggle, and that the moral fight possessed immense attraction for me." Elizabeth Blackwell applied to every medical college in Philadelphia and New York City and was rejected by all 29 of them. Undeterred, Blackwell studied medical books on her own and continued to study anatomy privately with a doctor who was sympathetic to her. Blackwell was eventually accepted to a small college in upper New York State, but her life did not become any easier, and she was still determined to become a licensed medical doctor. Unbeknownst to her, the acceptance letter from Geneva Medical College was intended to be a practical joke. The students shunned her, and she spent a great deal of time alone, and even the townspeople thought her insane and immoral and would stare at her on the street. Even though she joined the class mid-term, she soon caught up and even surpassed her classmates. So she became the top of her class and graduated in 1849. However, even after obtaining a medical degree, her life did not become any easier. She soon found out that no one would accept a female doctor. She was banned from practicing medicine in America, and she returned to Europe, but they would not let her practice there either. Eventually, she traveled to Paris and was permitted to practice, but only as a student midwife and not as a physician. So now let's talk about when Elizabeth Blackwell was finally able to practice medicine. It wasn't until 1850 that she could practice as a fully licensed doctor. She returned to England again and was accepted as an intern at St. Bartholomew's Hospital. But soon after that, she returned to America and was able to rent a room in Jersey City to start her own practice. And 3 years later, her sister Emily received her medical degree and joined her. The 2 of them opened a clinic in New York City for women and children. That clinic closed in 1857, and the Blackwell sisters, along with a colleague they called Dr. Zach, opened a New York infirmary for women and children, and this hospital still exists today as the Beekman Downtown Hospital. Elizabeth Blackwell overcame great adversity in her quest to become a doctor. I've talked to you today about how she came to America as a small child, the challenges she faced in order to become a licensed physician, and how her determination paid off, both for her and her family. Thank you.